The Cosmology of War, Part 1, The Field and the Fire, Why Every Leader in this conflict carries the same planetary signature. There is a war being waged at the most activated degrees in the sky, and the men waging it all carry the same fire. What you are hearing is Part 1 of a 4-part planetary intelligence transmission that carries the full cosmological architecture of this war. The natal charts, the fixed stars, the eclipses, the ancient watchers, the science, the water, the children, and the corridor of thresholds still ahead. Each part is a complete experience, and together they form the deepest reading of this conflict that I know how to give. I have taken you through this war before, through the systems, the water, the consciousness. If you have been following, you already know the surface architecture, the January massacres, the Omani peace deal that was within reach before the first bomb fell, the Strait of Hormuz choke point strangling the world's oil, food, and fertilizer supply chains, the Krink axis, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and the structural alliance operating beneath the visible conflict. You have seen the water, the oil slicks, the PAH plumes, the molecular signatures entering the Gulf, the food chain, the desalination plants, the placenta. You have seen the consciousness layer, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, the 7 breached planetary boundaries, the architecture of total knowledge meeting total disconnection. And as I was building this cosmology, mapping degrees, cross-referencing charts, weaving the fixed star layer into the water science, the field kept confirming. The president addressed the nation and threatened to bomb Iran back to the Stone Age. A desalination plant on Keshem Island, the water bearer, the infrastructure that turns seawater into the drinking water of millions, was destroyed by strikes. The Pasteur Institute in Tehran was bombed. The Tawfik Daru pharmaceutical facility, destroyed. 316 healthcare centers damaged. Former Foreign Minister Karazi, overseeing back-channel peace negotiations, was wounded in a strike. His wife was killed. The Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed. Oil has risen 65%. Diesel has risen 91%. The International Rescue Committee warns of a global food security crisis, surpassing the 2022 Ukraine shock by June. Every confirmation arrived as I was charting the degrees. The field and the physical world were speaking the same sentence at the same time. And in the same address, in the same breath that threatened to bomb a civilization back to the Stone Age, the president praised the astronauts of Artemis II as they launched toward the moon. The first crewed lunar mission in over 50 years, lifting off during a war, just as Kennedy launched Apollo during the Cold War that would consume him. I will return to that mirror in Part 3. For now, hold it. The cosmos offers the same pattern, under the same transit, and watches whether anyone recognizes it. What I am going to show you is why these specific human beings, carrying these specific planetary signatures, arrived at this specific crossroads, at this specific threshold, in the deepest cycle available to human measurement. And astrologers across the world, Western tropical practitioners, Vedic astrologers, financial astrologers, mundane researchers tracking eclipse cycles across centuries, independently converged on the same window, reading the same degrees, naming February and March of this year as the threshold, before the first bomb fell. The field was already signaling through its readers. This convergence is itself a morphic field event, the pattern becoming visible to multiple observers simultaneously, across traditions that do not share methodology, because the signal was that strong. Their specific findings are referenced in the sources accompanying this transmission. Stay with me. We are going all the way in. The sky right now is liminal, from the Latin limen, threshold, a transitional point between one state and another, standing between spaces, and every layer of the sky is standing between spaces at once. The precession of the equinoxes, the 25,800-year wobble of Earth's axis, slowly shifts the backdrop of the spring equinox through the zodiacal constellations. 1 degree every 72 years, 1 full sign every 2,160 years. The age of Pisces, the age of faith, hierarchy, intermediaries between you and the divine, is ending. The age of Aquarius, the age of the water bearer, of collective consciousness, of decentralized knowledge, of direct knowing without intermediary, is beginning. This is a living passage, a liminal zone spanning roughly 400 years, wide enough to hold entire civilizations in transition, entire paradigms being born and dying at once. And what is being asked of us inside this corridor is a sustained reorientation of consciousness itself. Inside this broader 400-year threshold, 4 outer planets are changing signs simultaneously for the first time in any living astrologer's memory. All of them entering fire and air. None in earth, none in water. In the days surrounding this transmission, the Sun passed through the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune at 0 degrees Aries, the cosmos handing us the tools of responsible rebuilding at the exact moment the men who launched this war arrived at the same threshold. All of them, near the same degrees, activated by the same eclipse. In astrology, Mars is the sacred fire of life force, the animating impulse that gets you out of bed, the heat in your blood, the courage that moves toward what matters and away from what threatens. Mars is the immune system of the soul, the intelligence that knows the difference between a boundary and a cage, between protection and aggression, between standing your ground and standing on someone else's. Mars is the primal yes and the primal no, the capacity to act decisively, to protect the vulnerable, to fight for what cannot fight for itself. Mars distorted is the wound that strikes before it thinks, the ego that mistakes destruction for strength, the rage that cannot distinguish between protection and domination. Where Mars sits in your birth chart reveals how you fight, what you fight for, and what you are willing to defend with your life. The sign and degree of your natal Mars is your martial signature. 5 key actors in this war share natal Mars in Leo, the sign of the king, the heart, the ego, within a tight 2-degree band between 26 and 28 degrees. These are not 5 separate coincidences. This is one phenomenon, one 2-degree sweep of the sky producing the same martial fire in 5 bodies, each of whom arrived at this threshold carrying it. Donald Trump at 26 degrees with his ascendant at the anaretic 29, the most volatile degree in any sign, the degree of crisis and culmination. Benjamin Netanyahu at 26 degrees, a solar eclipse native whose identity was forged in the moment the light disappeared. Joe Kent at 26 degrees, the Aries Sun combat veteran who carried the warrior archetype in his identity and his martial signature simultaneously, and who resigned on the equinox, the first day of his own sign, saying he could not in good conscience support this war. Mike Huckabee at 28 degrees, the only visible actor who carries both Mars and Pluto at the cluster degrees, the sword and the deep power drive in one body. And the state of Israel itself carries natal Mars at 28 degrees Leo, sharing the same martial signature as the men directing its military. 5 actors, one 2-degree band, the same sign, the same fire, activated by the same eclipse, standing in the same room of the sky, whether they know it or not. Trump was born during a total lunar eclipse, a soul who arrives at the intersection of light and shadow, carrying both the capacity to illuminate and the capacity to obscure in a single body. His sun is in Gemini, the sign of duality, of communication as both revelation and weapon. Netanyahu was born during a solar eclipse, one who builds power in the space where others lose their bearings. And the man they converged to kill, Ayatollah Khamenei, was himself born during a solar eclipse. He died between 2 eclipses, assassinated by 2 men who were also born on eclipses. 3 eclipse natives converging in a single act of war during eclipse season. The ancients said eclipses portend the fall of kings. The pattern consumed its own. And the ancient tradition does not specify which king. To understand what that means, you need to understand what an eclipse family is. In astronomy, eclipses do not occur randomly. They belong to lineages, families called Saros cycles, first mapped by the Babylonians on clay tablets as the Saru. Every 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours, the Sun, Earth, and Moon return to the identical alignment near the lunar nodes, and the same family sends its next descendant. Each Saros family lives for 1,200 to 1,300 years, producing 70 to 87 eclipses over its lifespan, beginning as faint partials at one pole, deepening into totals as the shadow path migrates across centuries, then fading at the opposite pole. The geometry evolves slowly, But the relational question returns unchanged. Every 18 years, the same question asked again to whoever is standing at the activated degrees. The Saros family that was active when this war was triggered has been active during the attempted assassination of President Taft in 1909, the death of President Roosevelt in 1945, the assassination of President Kennedy in 1963, the shooting of President Reagan in 1981, and the impeachment of President Clinton in 1999. The eclipse that killed one leader belongs to the same family that has accompanied the fall of leaders for over a century. And the next eclipse in this series lands at 20 degrees Leo in August, in the sign of Kings, approaching the degrees where every actor in this war carries their fire. These souls were always going to meet at this crossroads. Something higher than any of them arranged the meeting, a living planetary intelligence that places the exact souls at the exact degrees, at the exact threshold, then watches what they choose. The cosmos choreographs the appointment and then falls silent, reflecting every choice back through the field, so that egos are shown they are not the highest authority. The question was never whether they would arrive. It was what each of them would choose when the threshold arrived. And here is where the cosmology meets the oldest truth in human consciousness. Days after the eclipse detonated the Mars cluster, Saturn and Neptune met in exact conjunction at 0 degrees Aries, the first degree of the entire zodiac, the spark point where the wheel begins, the spring equinox point where light overtakes darkness. Mars rules Aries. The conjunction activated Mars as the ruling planet of the entire incoming cycle, and Mars is the thread connecting every leader in this war. The last Saturn-Neptune conjunction was in 1989, the year Khamenei became supreme leader. The one before that was 1953, the year the Shah was installed. And now the conjunction returns at the very first degree of the zodiac, and within days, Khamenei is dead, Iran is being restructured again, and the same Saros eclipses are overhead. 0 degrees Aries, the equinox, the threshold where light returns after the descent into darkness. Every civilization on Earth has recognized this passage, the death of one cycle and the emergence of the next at the same degree, in the same sky, through the same turning. This transmission is being released on Easter weekend. The field chose the timing, not as coincidence, as confirmation. But the truth beneath Easter is older and more dangerous than the version you were given. The resurrection is not a Christian invention. It is the oldest archetype in human consciousness, and Christianity did not originate it. Christianity conquered it. The resurrection truth arrives from within the cosmology itself, because 0 degrees Aries is the resurrection degree, and what was installed at that degree, and what is now being dissolved there, demands that you understand the full history of what this sky point carries. Osiris was murdered and scattered across the Nile. Isis, the feminine, searched, gathered every piece, reassembled what was broken, breathed life back into the severed body. She performed the resurrection. Inanna descended through 7 gates, stripped of everything she carried, her crown, her lapis lazuli beads, her breastplate, her gold ring, her measuring rod, hung in the underworld for 3 days, and rose carrying the verdict of the deep back into the living world. Dionysus was torn apart by the Titans and reborn through the heart, the one piece that remained. Quetzalcoatl descended into the land of the dead, gathered the bones of the ancestors, infused them with his own blood drawn from his own body, and rose as the morning star. Persephone returns each spring and the earth blooms in her wake, the world's fertility conditional on her emergence from the underworld, the dark, the place of transformation. The phoenix burns entirely and rises from its own ashes at the moment of its greatest destruction. These stories were alive for thousands of years before the 1st century. They belong to no single tradition. They belong to the field itself. And in every single one of these passages, the feminine was central. Isis performed the resurrection. She was not the witness. She was the agent, the searcher, the assembler, the one who breathed. Inanna made the descent of her own sovereign choosing. She was not sent. She descended to face what could not be avoided. Persephone's return made the earth bloom. The world's capacity to sustain life was conditional on her emergence. The resurrection was the feminine's domain. The power to search, to reassemble, to breathe life into what was broken, to carry the verdict back from the underworld into the living field. And this feminine sovereignty was not a footnote in the ancient world. It was the center of the story. When Rome adopted Christianity as a tool of empire, this changed. Constantine did not simply believe, he conquered. At the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, he took the resurrection archetype, the oldest story the field remembers, and installed it as the operating system of imperial power. He placed the birth of Christ on December 25th, the Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the unconquered sun, the date already claimed by Sol Invictus and by Mithra. Constantine's own coins bore Sol Invictus until the year of the council. He introduced Sunday as the official day of rest, the day of the sun, the solar disk, the masculine radiance of empire. And he anchored Easter to the spring equinox, the resurrection degree, 0 Aries. The sun became the sun. The solar calendar of the Roman Empire became the sacred calendar of the new religion, and the old resurrection traditions were folded into a single authorized narrative. But the deeper operation was this. The resurrection was taken from the collective and given to a single intermediary. The feminine was erased from the center of the story and placed at the foot of the cross as a witness. Isis became Mary, still present, still weeping, but no longer the one who does the work of resurrection. Inanna's 7 gates became invisible, her descent unacknowledged, her sovereignty unremembered. The descent and return that the feminine had always performed was assigned to one male figure, and the institution that owned his story became the only authorized channel between humanity and the divine. You cannot access God without us. You cannot be forgiven without us. You cannot rise without us. That is the operating system Constantine installed at 0 degrees Aries, and it has been running for 1700 years. The Crusades ran on it. The Inquisition ran on it. The colonial project ran on it. Salvation delivered at the point of a sword. The indigenous resurrection traditions of every conquered culture declared heresy and burned. The feminine principle in every tradition suppressed. The land itself commodified, because if you are not connected to the divine without intermediary, you are also not connected to the living earth without ownership. And the pattern of domination dressed as righteousness, the conviction that your violence is sacred because God is on your side, is the same pattern now expressing through every leader in this war. They all believe they are serving a higher purpose. The dream caught fire in all of them. The operating system is still running. Until now. Because the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries did not just reset a political operating system, it reset that one, the one Constantine installed at that same degree. The code that says power flows through intermediaries, that the feminine is secondary, that one story owns the resurrection, that the individual cannot access the field directly. That is what died at 0 degrees Aries this spring. And the question of what rises is the question this entire transmission has been building toward. Because the age of Aquarius does not send one being to die and rise on behalf of everyone. It asks everyone to rise. The resurrection is no longer delegated to a single figure carrying the sins of the world on his back. It is distributed across every body that carries water, across every heart that still knows the difference between what nourishes and what poisons, across every hand that reaches for guardianship instead of domination. The collective resurrection is not metaphor. It is the Aquarian demand. And the degree where it was activated is the degree where Easter was anchored 1700 years ago. The field placed the release date. Many of us recognized it. And Mithra, the ancient Iranian god of light, covenant, and cosmic order, whose son once crowned the lion on Iran's flag, presides over the turning. He has always presided over the turning. This is part 1. In part 2, I will show you the serpent beneath the lion, the fixed star sitting at the Mars cluster degrees that tells you exactly why this war is poisoning the water. I will take you deeper into the Saros bloodline and its Persian roots at the heart of this civilization's cosmology. And I will show you the counterpoint, the lion's heart offering nobility at the same degrees where the serpent offers venom. And the serpent is already in the water. Stay with me. There is more the cosmos has to say.